Hey, what's happening, ladies and gents? We are live one day before Cinco de Mayo, so everybody get ready to eat some tacos tomorrow. Or you can eat them today and tomorrow because today's Taco Tuesday. As you can tell, you know what's on my mind right now. I haven't had any breakfast yet, so I'm thinking Mexican food. Bellman, how you feeling today, bud?
Man, I'm feeling really, really good. Speaking of breakfast, I got a really, really special treat for breakfast because of my big night last night. My lovely wife went and got us both croissant sandwiches from Burger King, our favorite. So we really did it up this morning, celebrating in big fashion. And it's the little things in life, right?
Definitely. I do enjoy some fast food breakfast myself from time to time,
It's
but I
amazing.
probably wouldn't be my go-to
Fair enough. But
necessarily.
like
I'd probably wait for lunch.
we didn't have, she was talking about not going to work, but then she's like, she didn't want to sit home bored all day. She wanted to go to work. So we only had like 40 minutes. So it was like, that was enough time for her to pick something up and then for us to eat together before she had to go.
There you go. So if you haven't caught the baseball video yet, what we're talking about is somebody had their biggest night of DFS last night, and I know it wasn't me. It would be the other person on the side of this video with a six-figure win last night. Congratulations once again. We are doing members-only videos free to the public today just to kind of celebrate that. Also, we're going to run a special on new memberships today, so we'll get into that here momentarily as well.
Yeah. And it's just, I know we touched on this on the other video, but it's nice to be able to, have people to talk about it with and enjoy it with. And I know I was talking to Sam, my wife, after our first video, and I was like, man, like, Ryan is so happy for me. Like, it makes me feel so good. And I was like, I would be so salty. I was like, I'm actually salty thinking about how salty I would be if this were the other way around. So just know that I appreciate it.
Well, I don't do a lot of things right in this world, but I do feel that I'm good at being happy for other people. I'm
Yeah,
not a
you're really
jealous type of person.
no, you're really good at that. And it makes it like I was excited to tell you. Obviously, I'm not trying to flaunt it or anything like that, but part of that reason is because you're exactly what you just said.
So we are trying to flaunt it on here though, because we'd like to let you guys know that we do offer a DFS service that we feel can be
Yep.
beneficial to people. There's a lot of great websites out there for those of you guys who utilize, Awesemo or Line Star, Roto Grinders, big places. And there's still a few of us small guys around. We just try to make things a little bit different for people, try to make it easier. We got these long videos that we do every single day, and I know a bunch of our viewers appreciate those. That's where you're going to get the best information. And then we do our write ups at the end of the day. So last night, as you can see right here, took down 105 grand in this one, which again is just a monster day. But I also want to, note for people, this is a 419 entry thing. Like for those who want to win big money, when you're doing it with $3 and $4 entries into these massive entry things, like that shit's pretty unrealistic. Like it can happen, but it's really hard to do. Sometimes you got to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, half those, in those big contests, half those entries are by people who are like 150 maxing and getting every combo that you're thinking of. So it just makes it that much harder. I'm with you. You know that that's something I'm focused on, especially in baseball when I like to slate. It definitely worked out last night. I planted my flag hard on the Mets and Cardinals game, and it wasn't amazing, but having like the different pieces definitely worked out in my favor. And also, like something we talk about a lot, just watching the games. Like Laureano was a guy I'd watched a bunch of his at bats recently. I wanted a little exposure. Same with Alonso. So, yeah, man, I think that, you mentioned the other DFS sites. There's plenty of other really good sites out there. I'm a member of a bunch of them. I like a bunch of these guys out there, whether it's Awesome, Run, Pure, Line Star, you mentioned. I think that we're different just because it's just me and you, kind of more on a personal level, talk more of the human element side of thing. And I just think that's what separates us, not makes us better, not makes us worse, just makes us a little bit different. And yeah, man, excited to get on here and talk today. Obviously, a good day in the Bellman household. That's for damn sure.
No doubt about it. And it looks like you did this with one entry on here, huh?
No, I did it with more because I had that one.
Oh, okay. You didn't have a plural number next to it. I see it now. So again, Monster Night, congratulations, my man. This is baseball, so the baseball video is already out. And if you're looking for a reason to purchase a 5-pack membership today, so we all have our areas where we're better and worse when it comes to playing DFS. I think my best thing is the NBA playoffs. We are right here in the middle of your best thing, which is baseball GPPs. Weekly memberships, monthly memberships, you get a $10 reimbursement for a new weekly member today and a $20 reimbursement for a new monthly member. You get both sports. We're about to start my thing. We're right in the middle of your thing. Great opportunity to come aboard and be a 5-pack member. The website link is below. All that being said, guys, let's start talking about the NBA today got a couple of appealing games to kind of discuss, and hopefully we can help somebody get close to what it is that you did yesterday.
Yeah, for sure, man. Just like we always talk about, I'm just excited to get on here and talk sports with you, whatever we're talking about. So right now it's NBA. Let's get after it.
Let's do a drafters draft later, and we would love for more of you guys to come play drafters with us. This is like the most fun part of the day every single day.
Yeah.
And it's harder than it should be to get some of you guys to come do these snake drafts with us, which are always a blast. Got back on the winning ways last night, so I'm happy about that. They did late swap. Like, I did happen to catch the news, even though I was pretty busy last night, so I was able to late swap a bunch of the rain delay games out of here because we did this draft earlier in the day. But one of the best parts about drafters, they will late swap for you with the best guy per their ranking. So even if you would have been out of it and you were busy that night, you still get some live action. But knowing they got your back if you can't get to it yourself.
Amen to all that.
So I'd been on a little bit of a losing streak recently over here, so it felt good to get that dub. Let's start talking about NBA tonight. Your Cleveland Cavaliers are at home against the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, there's a huge mismatch in talent and everything like that in this game. Colin Sexton. If you think this game's going to be competitive, he's a guy that I don't think a lot of people will use at this price tag. But despite being a bad matchup, he can play well in situations like this. He was balling against Miami the other day before this one got too lopsided.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's definitely interesting here with Garland out. He's going to have the ball in his hands so much. Speaking of Garland and Sexton, just kind of off subject a little bit, who would you rather have? Like, if you were, it doesn't even matter in any circumstance, like going forward, next year, whatever. Like, who do you think's the better NBA player?
Well, Sexton has been in the NBA just a little bit longer, so it would make sense he's just a little bit farther along in his progression. Yeah. I would take Sexton right now, but it doesn't mean that, like, in 2 years from now, we're like, Garland's a little bit better than Sexton. So I think it's a close call, but I would go with Sexton.
I agree. I think Garland has higher upside, though, like ultimate upside, but, maybe a slightly lower floor. Who knows? I think they're very similar.
Yeah, and I don't think they're the right answer to combo together in a backcourt because I think they
both need the ball in their hands a lot.
Yeah, I think they need to be complemented by other guys. Not that they couldn't play decently together, but ultimately, I don't think they're the right match. I don't think it's the worst match of all time. I just don't think they're the right match to build on for the future.
I agree.
So, nobody else from Cleveland I'm super excited about. They're not a very good basketball team. Could Kevin Love be good today? He could be, but it's not the place where I'm likely to end up.
Same.
All right. As far as Phoenix goes, my worry with Phoenix here is if these guys play really, really well, this one is no lock to be a game. Cleveland's not a good basketball team. They're not missing one of their better players. I kind of thought that about the last Phoenix Suns game against Oklahoma City. Booker ended up being solid, but the Suns they played awful in that game early.
That's a bad loss.
They won. It's a bad win.
Oh, yes. Excuse me. Yes, I read that score wrong. Nothing. Yeah, good win for them probably. If they played like crap, probably.
Yeah, they were bad early. I think they were down at halftime. My thoughts in a situation like this is they probably don't take Cleveland as lightly today as they did Oklahoma City last game, which could be a bad thing for Cleveland. Torrey Craig is a guy I don't mind throwing in some dart calls for GPPs, but we see a lot of teams with really big scores against OKC.
That we do.
So it's not a game that I love by any stretch of the imagination. I get Torrey Craig, though.
For sure.
That's massive GPP upside in 2 of his last 5 and 1 good game. He's also got 2 major stinkers in there. And we have no Jay Crowder again today. Cam Johnson is playing, but, take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, I think he's a fine filler option if you need it. Nothing more, nothing less.
All right, so Detroit had a bunch of guys in play last night, and I don't know 100% what their plans are yet today. Hopefully most of you guys kind of stayed away from, I don't know. I didn't really like a lot of these Detroit guys, and Stewart was not great. Jackson was real bad, if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, just god awful. Hopefully, I don't know how popular he was last night, but there was some place where he stayed away.
Didn't Diallo end up starting over him?
Yeah.
I didn't even play NBA. I just know that came across. So, wow, I guess Bay has been good.
Yeah, Bay was the guy who I said was my favorite. I didn't use him, though, so I didn't like him enough to play him. He was really, really good. and then Diallo started playing. We got Grant and a bunch of guys questionable today. It's a little bit too early to be able to speak about Detroit with any kind of confidence right now.
Completely agree.
So Saban Lee saw some decent run last night. He was solid. I don't know. We'll have to reevaluate Detroit as we get more news about them, and that could come out at any moment, or it may not come out for 5 hours.
Agreed.
All right. As far as Charlotte goes, he's been back for 2 games now. LaMelo Ball he's been fine twice. It's a better upside spot because when he faced Detroit the first time, he wasn't going to play bigger minutes. He could easily meander into the mid-30s today. Probably still not trying to get here myself, but I can see where he's capable of upside with Graham out.
I agree with all those points.
So, I don't know. I don't have a lot that I love in this game.
I agree. I think, I like the Charlotte side more because they're better, but I'm with you. Nothing like stands out as guys you got to play, which that's all NBA is now. It's, finding the absolute best plays.
Monk played 27 minutes last game. I could see him having a big night, potentially-ish. He might be my favorite guy. He's a little cheaper today, too.
Yeah, he is. I can get on board with that.
But Detroit is not a good basketball team.
Mm-mm.
All right, well, now let's move over to the actual real-life game of the night. We have seen the Nets and the Bucks play twice this year. Both games were epic from regular season standpoints, coming down to the last shots. The Bucks missed one to lose. Now the Nets missed one to lose. The thing about this game for me is like Brooklyn's offense is so good that as great as the Bucks defense, and they played pretty freaking great the other day. Like KD is a transcendent talent who can just give it to anybody. And I'm extremely interested in Kevin Durant today. I'm also extremely interested in Giannis. I don't think that there's a lot the Nets can do. They don't have the bodies to really stop him. And he seems to play competitive in these situations like this. The game's in Milwaukee. Ultimately, I think Brooklyn's the better team. So it's good for me that the game's in Milwaukee. KD played 40 minutes the other day. Assuming everybody's in from these 2 games, I like the studs again.
I agree. I mean, I liked Milwaukee a lot in that last game. I told you I bet Milwaukee. It's the first NBA game I bet in a while. I haven't even looked at the line here, but I think I like Milwaukee again.
I think the game means more to Milwaukee than it does to Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn definitely runs out there with, even though they got, I think it's a 2.5 game lead on Milwaukee right now. Yeah. I don't think they give a shit if they lose it or not. I don't think it matters to them. I think it's more important for the Bucks. If Harden, Kyrie, and KD are all healthy, which is a big damn if, they're going to be a tough out, like a real tough out. So it just doesn't seem to me that it matters to them as much.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Milwaukee tonight. I told you I like them coming out of the East. This is a big 2-game series for them if they can sweep Brooklyn here.
All right. Let's just talk about the Milwaukee guys again. Drew Holiday. I have become such a fan of watching this guy play defense. His feet, the only other guy that has feet like him to me is Ben Simmons, where they just are so quick at staying in front of people. Like they just bump guys with their midsections because they're able to move their feet so incredibly. Like I love this guy. I don't love him from DFS tonight, but if you are interested in watching something that maybe doesn't normally appeal to an NBA fan, watch Drew Holiday play defense on these guards. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome. It's funny. I don't know if you saw when Kevin Porter went off, he was like talking shit about Drew Holiday, and it made not even like that much shit, but like it made an Instagram live. He was like bragging that he had Drew on skates.
Yeah. Well, it was a great game for Kevin Porter.
Listen, these NBA players that are elite offensive players are going to get theirs against anyone. I mean, that's just what it is.
No Jeff Teague tonight. No, and Dante DiVincenzo is cold and timid right now. He does not look like he wants to shoot. He is muttered in a slump right now. And I only bring that up because it makes me slightly intrigued by the idea of Bryn Forbes, who is, he's not a great player, but he is a great shooter. And he is capable of lighting up Brooklyn, who doesn't play good defense. I could see them switching the way they run defense today. They played a lot of one-on-one on Giannis the other day, and that is why he absolutely torched them. I could see Forbes being a little bit of a GPP call here today.
I got no arguments with that at all. He's 3,400. He can get you a 20 spot here.
Sure. Same could be said for Pat Connaughton. Again, I still prefer Bryn Forbes. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble talking today. PJ Tucker's in there for his defense. He ain't going to do much of anything, so not interested. They ran without Bobby Portis the other day because he was sick.
Yeah.
He's probable today. That's good.
I was just about to ask you about that.
So, not that you would use him, but just if you want to throw it in there for any other reasons. I did not even realize Justin Jackson was on the Bucks.
Damn, neither did I.
So, I mean, you're not looking at him. I guess I just didn't even realize it. I think Lopez is in play at 4,800. He missed all of his threes the other day. Had a bunch of blocks going up against his old team. Far from a must. But when it really comes down to anything, for me, it is Giannis and it is KD in this game.
Agreed.
I mean, this means a lot to Giannis. I kind of expect him to roll into 60-plus today.
Yeah, he should just cruise here. I'm with you, man.
He only had 8 rebounds last game, too, guys. That is primed to go up.
I agree.
The points will probably come down, though, too.
More than likely.
He shot the 3-ball amazing last game. I don't know what about these Brooklyn big guys. So Jeff Green started last game. And I take it back. He did play 34 minutes. Was not very involved in the offense. Damn, I did not realize he played that much because they had Jordan in there for a while because they want some size to protect the rim. Claxton could be back in the rotation today. He sat out a couple weeks with COVID stuff. For me, KD. I like KD, period. And I don't think Blake Griffin's the worst play in the world.
What about your boy Alizé?
Yeah, he played 3 minutes the other day. It's not a place I'm going to go. Assuming that the Nets run their guys. I also wouldn't be flabbergasted if the Nets just say fuck it today and don't play their guys.
Same.
It's the Nets. They clearly think they are above trying against the teams. And you know what? They might be right.
They might be, yeah.
Shamet has looked good recently, too. He's definitely a guy who can get some open threes. I look at him a lot like Bryn Forbes, only a little bit more consistent in his minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Slightly more well-rounded. Slightly.
Yeah. Doesn't take much to be more well-rounded than Bryn Forbes. Bryn Forbes had it was funny. I watched him in Forbes in his post-game interview after the game on the 30th. And he's like, I've never had a rebounding game like this in my life. It was crazy. Every ball just bounced right to him. This is a guy who had 13 boards that game and rarely gets more than 2.
That's hilarious.
Someday the ball just bounces to you.
Yeah, truth.
All right, so we got Dallas at Miami tonight. Porzingis is doubtful. Kleba is questionable. So you might get some cheap big guys in here. They really do spread the minutes around their big guys. Finney-Smith plays a ton of minutes. I guess more than anything, it's kind of Luka or bust for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Giannis and KD a lot more than I like Luka tonight.
A lot more.
So I probably don't end up here. Luka's great. We know how good he is. But definitely give me the other 2 guys.
Same, easily.
These are 2 teams that are not positive detriments as far as how they influence the game. More defensive oriented than anything. Could Butler and Luka be awesome? I'm sure anything's possible, guys, but give me KD and Giannis.
Agreed. 100%. I think you start really looking at Luka and or Butler if that game starts sitting guys.
Yeah. The other guy, Trevor Ariza, I called him out the other day as a long shot. Now he's a long shot. I like Dwight Howard as a long shot yesterday. He was god awful. Long shots are long shots for a reason. But Trevor Ariza is priced at 4,300. They're still missing a couple of guys, which means those wing minutes are available. He's dropped a 32 spot, a 27, a 38, a 35, a 28, and a 41 over his past 10. He is big game capable, and he is playing good minutes.
Yeah, he is playing good minutes for sure. I got no issues with that at all. He's playing big minutes. We know that he's capable. He's a solid cog. He's very cheap, too.
He's a cog, but he's also like boom busty as well. Like he's also got 4 games in here where he's been pretty terrible.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because he plays bigger minutes. I mean, yeah, he shot 1 for 7. Yeah, when he shoots shitty, his scores are pretty crappy.
And he takes the majority of his shots from the corner with
Yep.
longer 3-pointers. So some days those just don't go in.
Truth.
All right, Golden State against New Orleans. We saw this game last night. Golden State played excellent. Most of these guys were out later into the game. Curry was awesome. Obviously, he's in play today. We don't typically love the back-to-back sets like these, but Golden State and New Orleans both need wins. I think New Orleans, let me just double-check this. Did this really basically kick them out of any opportunity? They are now, 2.5 games out of the play-in game because San Antonio lost as well. So, no, they're still alive. I expect a better effort from them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I expect a real good effort from them. So the only detractor is that they played last night. I mean, I hate that. I don't think it's enough to get away from it. I also don't think these guys are like musts.
Who do I like from Golden State tonight? I didn't like Draymond Green enough last night. He was awesome. Trip dub.
Damn, I mentioned him. It's a good thing I didn't even look to playing because, I can't be like, oh, I would have played him.
Yeah, I put him in the write-up, so hopefully some of you guys used him. He was awesome. You can definitely go right back here. There's no Kelly Oubre. And Toscano Anderson is more of like a long shot. He's played bigger minutes as well. I can't imagine getting here in like an ideal lineup. Bazemore continues to play well. Didn't even really make a 3-pointer until the very end of the game. He gets a lot of blocks and steals and rebounds. So he's getting priced out of being a must, but he's still in play.
Yeah, he's still massively in play.
Mulder was my other long shot yesterday. He played decent minutes. He just played like, butthole, whatever you want to say. He was not good.
No, he wasn't. But I think he's got higher ups. Well, I don't know. He reminds me a little bit of Bryn Forbes, maybe a little higher upside, but lower floor.
From the New Orleans side of things, mentioned with Lonzo yesterday, he's had some massive games lately. He is super pricey. I have to imagine, once again, he gets no love today. I don't love him here. I don't think this is like a great play, but he's also got some massive upside games in recent history.
Yeah, man. He also took 18. He's taken 40 shots in the past 2 games. That's, at 8K, you'll take that all day.
Right. Still no Nickeil Alexander-Walker, no Josh Hart. Brandon Ingram, from the best of my recollection, has been a little off recently as well from his DFS scores, so not really interested. We know he can, but it's not where I would end up. Love Zion, but I doubt I get here today. I like KD and Giannis more. Like, there's just no room at the power forward position.
No, there's not.
Like, if KD plays, KD is a lock for me, no doubt about it.
I agree.
Also, we were missing Steven Adams once again last night. Hernan Gomez. New Orleans played bad. Hernan Gomez had another game where he did nothing in the first quarter. He was kind of like on that Isaiah Stewart range, like a little bit of a letdown for the money you spent on him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, Sacramento against Oklahoma City. All right, so they're just not going to let Shai play the rest of the year. So I know they had mentioned him being questionable the other day, but he's out. No Fox, no Halliburton. How the hell did I miss that?
Oh, man. Awful, non-contact knee injury.
Too many sports going on. I guess that makes DeLon Wright pretty much a lock then.
Yes, I would have to say so.
What about your guy, Kyle Guy?
The problem is, you just never know who Luke Walton's going to give run to. I think the 3 guys are right. And then I think that they're going to run a lot of their offense through Bagley, who played more minutes last game, I'm pretty sure.
Got Terrence Davis.
Yeah.
It's got real upside. You guys remember we looked through those scores. Oklahoma City is awful and gives up huge scores. So Wright, Davis, and you know who else could go off today but might go underappreciated? Buddy Hield.
I almost think that this is definitely a spot where you could use Giannis, KD, and then all Sacramento.
For sure. Just think about this. You go DeLon Wright, Terrence
Davis. You don't
Davis.
even really like that many other spots.
Yeah, Buddy Hield. They gave Bagley 34 minutes. That's a fucking lock and a half right there.
Oh, yeah.
Holmes. I like Holmes, maybe not as much as
Same.
the other guys, but like he'll probably get a little lower owned. And
Bagley, Hield, yeah, these 5.
Giannis. Oh, I'm gonna have to take one of these guys out. Probably Holmes. Although I like Holmes a lot against OKC.
Yeah, it might be Buddy for me. Because it's got to be someone. Is the only reason.
Yeah, but you're gonna be heavy on Sacramento today.
I mean, yeah, I would plan on being like at least 3 deep on them.
And sometimes you see some of these games bust, but I do want to reiterate just how bad the Oklahoma City Thunder are. 1-9. It's the scores that they've been giving up. They give up 123, 159. Just look through 129, 122, 119, 112. Like they give up big points every single day. Big DFS scores because they turn the ball over a lot.
You're not wrong.
Not that like a guy like Maladone and stuff like that couldn't be in play, but they look to be relatively deep today, and I just never know what OKC is going to do. Like Baisley tends to be my favorite, but like I don't like him enough to play him over other guys.
The same. I guess just one thing going back to Sacramento, the one thing that I guess could make me like take Holmes out as the guy is just the roster construction. Like you can go to like Jackson Hayes or Hernan Gomez. We talked about at center.
Play Giannis at center if needed to be.
Yeah, exactly. The roster construction is easier without Holmes. I'll say that.
Yeah, but you're going to be sacking them.
Bagley, Holmes, Giannis, and Durant. That's all your power forward, and center. Like you know what I mean? That's like all your big men spots right there.
All right. Clippers, still no Patrick Beverly. Looks like we got a pretty full strength Clippers team today. Except for like, man, what's up with this dude's back? He has been out for 2 months now.
Yeah,
almost 2 months.
Deal?
I don't know. A back injury doesn't normally take this long. Like, does he need surgery? Because this has been a while.
Kind of forgot about him. Not gonna lie.
All right. So the Clippers are pretty full strength. No Boucher. Van Vliet's questionable. Trent's questionable. OG's questionable. Hard to evaluate Toronto right now. Also, Toronto may have just blown their load last game. They played. Siakam and Lowry were fantastic.
They were. Tonight said they won that game though.
It is. Although the Clippers right now are much better than the Lakers until the Lakers get healthy.
Oh yeah, I don't think Toronto wins this game. I mean, they also ruled a bunch of those guys out. Like OG's out, right?
Did they?
I thought they did yesterday.
And just like we barely doubtful for Trent, doubtful for OG. So yeah, not likely.
So yeah, I mean, I think you can make cases. I don't know, is Van Vliet in? I suppose because he was out last game, which is big for them.
No idea yet.
I mean, I don't know if he's out. I think that like Lowry and Siakam are fine, but I wouldn't like play my night around it.
No, I can't play those guys over Giannis and KD. Now things could change. I just like that. I just don't think. What if the Nets care, and if they play KD and Kyrie tonight, I assume they care about this game.
I agree.
And the Bucks can play good defense. Drew was great. Drew was great on Uncle Drew the other day and really slowed him down. But like, we can't stop Kevin Durant. Like, if Kevin Durant is out there just coming off a loss like that, who's stopping him?
I'm with you. You know who actually I could get on board with from Toronto? Flynn, who was awful last game, especially if like Van Vliet's out. But we've seen him play really well though.
I mentioned that I had 2 guys I liked in this price category for sleepers. It was Malachi Flynn and Dwight Howard. I played Flynn in his 2 points over Dwight Howard in his 40. That's a bad call, folks.
That's so DFS.
Like there are not a lot of calls worse than that. When you got 2 sleepers and one goes for 2 and one goes to 40, and you play the guy with 2, you couldn't be more wrong.
You are not wrong.
So, I'm not that interested. I respect the Clippers and what they're doing. They seem to be full strength today. I don't. If the Clippers roll from 3, this could be over early.
I agree.
And as great as Lowry and Siakam were, like, it's against the beat up Lakers team, not a full strength Clippers.
For sure, I'm with you. I think it's a good point.
So, barring any freakish changes, which is really, really difficult to bar because it's the NBA and it's 2021, seems to me like I'm studding up to KD and Giannis. Sometimes you see teams make adjustments in situations like this. I just don't think Milwaukee has an adjustment to stop Kevin Durant. And quite frankly, the Nets don't have the bodies to stop Giannis. Who cares about games like this?
I agree, man. I think both of those guys are locks. I think you look at them in Sacramento and then filler pieces elsewhere, assuming we don't get any changes.
Yeah. And that's a big ass assumption, but that's early in the day, we do seem to view this one very, very similar. Now, if you want to throw in like one sleeper into a situation like that, I expect all those guys to be relatively popular too.
I like the Malik Monk call.
Sure. And that could be all that you need in the NBA, right?
Definitely. That is all you need in NBA.
Right. Look for Dallas to maybe throw some things in. Oh yeah, the Golden State New Orleans game is wildly in play. Like if you like Steph Curry over Giannis or something, I get that.
The other difference between NBA and MLB, and it's something you said yesterday, and when I asked you, like, Bryce Harper or Anthony Davis, like, there's just so many more players in MLB. Like, that if freaking Giannis goes nuts, like has 70 DK points tonight, like you're gonna need, like, there's no way you're winning without him. In MLB, like, a bunch of people could have 20 plus DK points. You know what I mean? And like, you don't need any single one of them. You just have to have the right combination.
Or like last night, you didn't have a monster score, but nobody had monster scores. They just weren't out there because there weren't double dong home runs all over the place. Like the best pitcher was 30 points, not 45. There was no great secondary pitcher or anything like that. Like, I think, what was your total in this one? 160?
160.
There are nights 160 don't even place in GPPs.
And that was a good score last night, as you can tell by the standings. Like, it was only close with a couple people.
Yeah, you only had 2 people within 10 points to you, and one of them exactly 10 points away. But, like, there are nights where you put up 160 and barely eke into the money. So it's all slate dependent, but there was no double dongs last night.
Yeah, exactly. We talk about that with NBA, too, like when the chalk point guard goes off. So it's, like you just said, it's all slate dependent for sure.
Right? Oh, yeah, this is we've mentioned this so many times. So 5 years ago, 250 was like the cash line on your normal double up in NBA. Now there was nights where it was more or less. And then a lot of times lately it's been, 300. And everybody's like, well, you need the 6X. No, you don't. It's just that we get like 2 or 3 chalk guys at 3 or 4K who go for way over the total. Your other players are still evaluating with 5Xing in cash games, 6, 7Xing in GPPs. But when you get, let's just say, chalk DeLon Wright goes for 45 tonight. Need 9Xs. That's 20 points already there for everybody.
The ownership is more condensed now. Like every season, every year that goes by, the ownership gets more condensed with projections and more content and people on the same plays. Like you see these chalky pitchers, chalky offenses, chalky, NBA players. They are like almost close to 100% owned a lot of times.
Yeah, some of these chalky pitchers this year, like, you're so right about the ownership being just all in one guy. I mean, I liked DeGrom a lot, whatever that was, 10 days ago or when he started that Friday night. And, we went back and forth on that one for a while, and we both agreed he'd be popular. When I opened that one up and saw like he was 95% on a big Friday night slate, like I know it's Jacob DeGrom, but you got to be kidding me, 95%?
Well, how about like a couple, it must have been last week, not that many days ago, when we had Cole, Bieber, and Darvish. Cole against Detroit ended up being like almost 70% in tournaments. And he was the best player.
90 plus in cash.
Yeah. He was the best play on paper, and he ended up smashing that night. But like, you tell me that like Bieber and Darvish are going to be like a tenth of how old he is, I'm going to use those other guys.
Yeah, just to be different. Now, it's Garrett Cole against Detroit, so maybe I get why that's not your spot. You want to be different, but like I've seen other starting pitchers on slates that had no business being 70% in cash and 50 in GPPs, and it's like those are great fades.
For sure. We've talked about that a bunch on these shows with the hitters, so I'm so with you.
So, anyways, guys, a lot of fun talking to you all today about this. And I don't know, membership sale. We're in the midst of a hot run right here. Is our best two sports are going to be rolling here. Yours already is. Mine's starting. Like to come join the community. We'd love to have you. We'd like to have you guys come play draft with us too.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and let's get it today.